games. Whoop, let's go. Hursty Games, and this how we do. Now it's time we teach.
Hey there guys, welcome back to Hursty Games and welcome to another FIFA 22 rating prediction video. In the last one we predicted Arsenal's starting 11 ratings and there was a team that was very close to second and it didn't win this vote. Today we will be doing the Man United player prediction ratings. Now Man United was barely even mentioned in the first one, but it managed to absolutely steam through and get the win on this next one. So that's the team we're going to be predicting today. Want to say obviously this is my starting 11, the team that I would personally start out of the players at Man United, and I've predicted their ratings. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's see what we got. Okay, so we're going to start off in goal and start off with David De Gea, who I've kept at an 86 rating. I don't think De Gea gets the credit that he deserves sometimes. I don't think he's quite the keeper he was of a couple of years ago. However, I do still think he is a fantastic keeper, and I think an 86 is still a fair rating. I've tweaked a couple of stats, but I think honestly, maintaining at an 86 is probably the fairest thing for him. Between him and Henderson, I wasn't too sure. I know both have kind of been linked away, but I don't know. Tell me, United fans, is there anything I'm missing? Is one of them looking more likely to lead than the other? I wasn't sure, so I went with De Gea, sorry. And I'm going to be using a 4 at the back system, so starting off at left back, I've got Luke Shaw, who I've upgraded to an 83, and I think this is very much justified. I think A, he has proven to be one of England's best defenders, and quite possibly for the international team, the best left back that we have. I think Shaw was a great player, but I think for the system we were running, Luke Shaw definitely proved he is one hell of a player. And I think for United, he's going to prove to be a very good player as well. Obviously, they got the likes of Tellers, who I think will probably go down and match Shaw at an 83 because he didn't play all that much last season. But for me, I think Shaw is definitely warranting an upgrade, and I'd be surprised if it was any less than 83. On to the centre-backs, and the first one is his English teammate, Slabhead, aka Harry Maguire, who I've also got to an 83. Not as much of an upgrade as Shaw, but I think an 83, again, is probably a fair rating for him. Now, the stats I've sort of gone with here are obviously working off of his current stats and then boosting them a little bit to kind of match what an 83 rated version of his card would be. The stats for a centre-back look actually probably slightly higher than an 83 would because very high physicalities, but he's not the quickest of customers, we know that. So will he be overly usable? Not too sure, but regardless, 83 Harry Maguire is what I've gone with. And next to him, I've gone with someone who, I mean, technically isn't quite a Man United player yet at the time of recording. However, it's a matter of dotting the I's and crossing the T's until Rafael Varane joins Manchester United. So I've gone with him up next and upgraded him to an 87. Now, I know that Real Madrid didn't have the best of seasons. I know that France maybe didn't have the Euros that they were expecting, but I think Varane is probably warranting a bit of an upgrade. I mean, he did well enough to earn multiple special cards across FIFA. I know you can't base all your real life sort of football knowledge off of FIFA, but obviously as somebody who doesn't watch the Santander as frequently as maybe others do, I kind of take that off the fact that he obviously had, at the very least, some relatively decent moments, and he got into the team of the season, so he must not have had a particularly awful season. But we all know that this card is going to be absolutely disgustingly expensive. Everyone and their nan is going to have this card in their starting team if they can afford it. But boy, it's going to be a matter of affording it because this is going to be a pricey card. And I expect him to be a one to watch as well. So, yeah, that's fun. And at right back, I've gone with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I've kept him at an 83. I don't think he had a bad season. I don't know, it just didn't necessarily seem like he had an amazing season. I think the reason I kind of kept him as an 83 is because I kind of put Shaw to an 83. And do I think Wan-Bissaka's better than Luke Shaw? No, not really. But you could also argue he maybe did warrant a +1. So this could have been an 84, but I did go with an 83. I do think this card will be very, very good early game. I managed to get Wan-Bissaka quite early on FIFA 20 for my RTG. And he was in my team for quite a period of time because I quite liked his card. So I would say this card is most likely going to be pretty darn effective at the start of 22. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the card that Wan-Bissaka's got. Maybe I was a bit harsh by keeping him the same, not upping him by 1. But I've gone with an 83 for now. And I'm going with a 3-man midfield, and we're going to start off with a holding midfielder, and possibly the one position a lot of United fans really think they need to bolster, and that is CDM. And I've gone with McTominay. I've given him a +1. I picked McTominay over Fred, just because I actually quite like McTominay. I know a lot of United fans say he's a bit of a liability and he makes mistakes. I think I maybe just don't see that as often because I don't massively dislike Scott McTominay. I think he's a decent little player. And yeah, I've given him that +1, and I personally think he will still get a +1, even if United fans don't think he had a tremendous season. I think although Scotland themselves didn't have a great Euros, I don't think he necessarily had a bad Euros. I don't think he played particularly awful, even when playing out of position. But McTominay, for me, decent little player. I don't think we've seen the best of him just yet, and hopefully he can continue to improve for United fans. But yeah, I've gone with McTominay as an 80 rating. Now this next one was a really, really tricky one to go with the rating. I've got Paul Pogba, and I've given him a +1. Now, I don't know, man. It's a tricky one, right? Again, Pogba played really, really well for France in the Euros, but France didn't have a fantastic Euros by their own sort of level of how they play. You expected France to really do well. I expected them to win the whole thing, I won't lie to you, but I don't know. I just feel like EA are going to give him a +1. I just do. I know he went down to an 86 this FIFA. I think he will get a +1 and go up again a little bit. I don't think he's going to go as high as he's been previously, like 88s and that kind of thing, but I do think he's going to get a +1 on his 86 this year. And with some of the way they're describing some of the new gameplay, a player like Pogba could really suit what would potentially be a meta in 22. Having great passing, having great dribbling, and if he's got some of these new animations, some of these new animations could be broken. They could be very, very effective. The sort of the new motion stuff as well. So it'll be interesting to see how good Pogba is. I personally think he's going to be a +1 on his 21 card, but time will tell. United fans, this is the one I really did struggle with the most, so let me know your thoughts. And the last midfielder, an attacking midfielder, we've got Bruno Fernandes, aka Fernandes, and I've given him an 88, and I think this is obviously very justified. A +1. Could it be a +2? Potentially. I decided to play it slightly safer and go with the +1 for a higher rated card instead of going for a +2. Again, that was just erring on the side of caution. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get an 89. I mean, he could even get a 90, but I think that might be maybe pushing it a little bit. But I think an 88 or an 89 is probably the fairest ratings to give him. And again, somebody that would really suit what would potentially be a good, passing and dribbling meta. His finishing in 21 was very, very good early days and was a really good card to have at the start of 21 because his finishing was so, so good for the kind of card that he was. So personally, I think Fernandes will be a very, very nice card to try and get at the start. Will he be as expensive as Pogba? I reckon they'll be fairly similar because obviously Pogba's got that perfect link to Varane as and when that signing is made. So that's something worth bearing in mind. But Fernandes for me will be a very, very good card, and 88 or 89, but I went with 88. I maybe wimped out a little bit on that one, I won't lie. And I've got with a 3 up top system, and I'm starting off with a left winger, and that is Marcus Rashford. Upping him to an 86, giving him a walkout. I do think this is, again, justified. I'm a big fan of Rashford. I know he's gone through a few injuries, he's gone through a few knocks and a few sort of slightly quieter patches, but I still think Rashford has shown some real class across the season, and I do think we're seeing Rashford still progressing as a player. I still honestly think we are yet to see the absolute heights of Marcus Rashford. I think there is still a lot left in that tank of potential, and I do think that this is going to be a very interesting season for Rashford, because it'll be interesting to see A, where he's played, B, if the bringing in of Sancho maybe sees him out the team, even though I think Sancho would come in on the right hand side. But personally, I think Rashford deserves an 86, and I do hope to see him as a walkout, because personally I think he deserves it. And we did just mention him, but there is Sancho. Sancho is the right-hand-sided player. I've gone with an 88 for Sancho, and again, I think that's very much justified. He had a fantastic season over in the Bundesliga, and obviously earned a huge deal over to United. I say huge deal for the money that they spent. I think it was a relatively good price. I think they've done pretty well with the pricing of both Sancho and Varane. I don't think they've massively overspent on either player, but Sancho for me is an absolute baller. And again, if dribbling is a really, really important thing this FIFA, I think he is going to be incredibly useful. Obviously being English and in the Prem means he's got so many links that he can work. You can obviously get that perfect link to Wan-Bissaka on that right hand side if they are both right hand sided players, which I would safely assume that they will be. But yeah, I think Sancho's going to be a fantastic option as a right mid in the Prem. There's only really been a few over the last couple of FIFAs, Salah being like the main one, and I've never been the biggest fan of Salah, so Sancho for me could be a big, big addition to the right mid option in the Premier League before special cards. So all about it. And I do say before special cards, again, expect a one to watch, because him and Varane are very likely to get one. And up top, I've been a bit controversial here. I haven't gone with Martial, I've gone with Cavani. I personally think Cavani is an absolute baller. I love Cavani, and I think he's a hella underrated player. So I've given him a +1 to an 85. I was thinking about an 86, but I think it was a bit of a bit part kind of appearance from him in this season gone. But when he did play, I just loved watching Cavani. He really showed his class, he really showed his quality, and he really brought something to that United side. So personally, I think an 85 Cavani is justified. Sorry, Martial fans, that he wasn't included in my starting 11. But yeah, Cavani, I think it's safe to say, deserves that +1. But that is my Man United starting 11. Those are my predicted ratings for those players. Let me know down below if there's anything you massively disagree with, or if there's any players you think I did miss. As I said in the previous one, let me know if you would like me to mention any of the other ratings of players that I did miss. I know some people would be interested maybe in a Martial, maybe a Greenwood, maybe James, these kind of players that didn't make it into my 11. But let me know down in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, make sure you let me know the next team you'd like to see me do. I go by general majority mentions and majority request. So if there's a team or teams in particular that jump out, then obviously those are the teams I go for. But thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this, then please do leave a like on the video. It supports me, the video, and the channel out a whole bunch. If you're new to the channel, then hit that sub button, turn notifications on to be notified anytime that we upload a video. And of course, if you want to catch us on our live streams, Hursty Games YT over on Twitch, link in the description. While you're in that description, make sure you check out our channel sponsors of M21 and Real Footy Prints, and code Hursty will get you a discount at both. But for now, guys, I want to say a massive thank you for watching. I've been Tom. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you soon. Look after yourselves, and of course, wash your hands.
Nah, his name
in a
is
bit.
Hursty. Slap bald head, yeah, it'll probably hurt me. Bang top bins, it'll probably hurt you. Ginger, streamer, platform, YouTube. Drop a name in the chat, or say hello. Entertain you already know. Capital H, yeah, I'm a read it slow. Hursty Games, yeah, you already know.